Okay, so we have a hell of a lot of technical patterns to discuss today, and I'll divide them into two sections. Let me explain section 2 first. These will be the weekly key reversals that I usually cover in my commentaries each week, and there is a large number of them. But firstly, I'd like to visit once again, properly this time, the monthly key reversals we saw in June. Now, regular viewers and listeners will recall that last week I laid out in advance, a very large number of possible monthly key reversals that I saw coming at the end of June. Most of these have come about, but I've also had one that I did not anticipate, a late runner if you will. So, last month we had monthly key reversals down in the following: German DAX futures, UK FTSE futures, French CAC 40 futures, LME 3-month copper, spot platinum, and Chicago soybean futures. Most of these are covered to a greater depth in either my daily or weekly commentaries. However, there was another unusual monthly key reversal down that I would like to discuss, and that is in Kiwi dollar against the US dollar. Here we had a monthly key reversal down in June, but we already previously had a monthly key reversal down in May. Thus, the one in June was a compound key reversal down. That is a key reversal down on an already monthly key reversal down. This is a rare and significant action and pattern. Next, looking at the monthly key reversals up for June, we had ones in US dollar Colombian peso and US dollar Indonesian rupiah. These two were significant to me as they came up in conversation at the Biofuels International Conference and Expo this week in Brussels, where I was making a presentation. Additionally, there were monthly key reversals up in US dollar Israeli shekel, more on that one later, as well as US dollar Swedish krona, US dollar Chilean peso, Swiss franc against the Polish zloty, ICE Dutch TTF gas baseload futures, and EEX German power base futures. Then there was the latecomer, US dollar against the South African rand. That only formed a monthly key reversal up very late in June and has followed on higher ever since. I also note here the weekly key reversal up, the quite significant weekly key reversal up made in mid-June as well. So that covers the monthly key reversals. What about the weekly key reversals seen last week? Well, there's quite a few here. We had weekly key reversals down in euro against the US dollar, euro against the Japanese yen, sterling against the US dollar, aka cable, but interestingly not in euro sterling. We also had weekly key reversals down in euro against Hungarian forint, the MOEX Russia index, though that really isn't much use to anyone right now. The next three are interesting either because of the lack of similar actions in related markets or because of related actions in the same product. Thus, we had a weekly key reversal down in NYMEX RBOB futures, but not in either NYMEX heating oil futures or in NYMEX WTI crude oil futures. Elsewhere, we had a weekly key reversal down in the cryptocurrency Ethereum, but which was not reflected in Bitcoin. The last weekly key reversal down I'd like to discuss was in EEX butter futures. Here there was the second weekly key reversal down seen in 3 weeks, and though we haven't seen a follow-through lower since, it is still a futures contract that I suggest requires some closer attention. In the weekly key reversals up, the first one to note was the weekly key reversal up last week in euro sterling. Now this does not go against the previously mentioned weekly key reversals down in euro against the dollar and sterling against the dollar cable, but is an unusual feature and deserves consideration. We also had weekly key reversals up in US dollar Danish krona, US dollar Thai baht. Again, this last one was another currency that came up in discussion at this week's Biofuels conference. There are additional weekly key reversals up in US dollar Romanian leu, and a dubious one in Chicago live cattle futures. This is debatable. It was done over the changeover and only shows up in continuous charts. Finally, there was a weekly key reversal up in US dollar Israeli shekel. This is the second time I've mentioned US dollar Israeli shekel this week, on this commentary. And that is because the pair have the unusual situation of having both a monthly key reversal up in June and a weekly key reversal up in the last week, or part of a week, in June as well. Whilst we have seen a follow-on higher to the monthly key reversal up, for which the weekly key reversal up has been partially responsible for, we've not yet had any key moves in either direction to follow on or not to the weekly key reversal so far. Anyway, to end with, I am always happy to share my videos, various charts, and answer any questions of anyone who wishes to contact me. And with that, I'll finish this section from London. I hope you found these comments useful.